Hello and welcome to another Your Partnerships Meets, and I'm here with Lisa from Stutz Associate. Lisa Haywood, I'm so glad to have you on the set. Have you been out to Corker Media before?
I haven't. This is my first visit.
You like it? Electricity and everything. It's pretty cool.
It is, isn't it? Modern and newfangled.
But they take great care of you out here, and it's laid back, isn't it? I mean, and for people that have not been on from podcast yet, I mean, what would you say the experience so far? Is it nerve-wracking? Is it scary? What would you say?
No, it's not nerve-wracking at all. Yeah, I feel really comfortable.
Have a nice
and
chat.
There's even a bar, so...
Well, there you go. Good. There's a bar and tea and coffee. So, obviously, you've been around the network for a little while now, and we're so glad to have you with us because, I have a general understanding of, you like to help people mitigate and any disputes they may have, whether that be through corporate or even with people dealing with lasting powers of attorney or different things. I'll mess it all up, Lisa. You tell them what you do properly. So, but it is so important nowadays that we've got people like you to go talk to before people just start going and just wanting to sue everybody, But tell them how it works.
We don't want everyone suing everyone.
No.
I specialise in disputes. So my firm is the leading firm in Cornwall that exclusively deals with disputes.
Yes.
And I can deal with a corporate dispute on the same day that I'm dealing with a dispute over a will. So it's a really varied workload that I've got. Property disputes are particularly prevalent in Cornwall. Cornish hedges tend to throw up an awful lot of issues. Where's the boundary? Is it this side, that side, middle?
Okay.
Who knows?
Gotcha.
So there's lots and lots of things that are peculiar to Cornwall. People love chopping down leylandi. So there's a lot of things that can arise, and I have been dealing with disputes for my entire career.
Okay.
So I have probably dealt with something. If something crops up for you, I've probably been there. I've probably dealt with every single type of agricultural animal.
Yeah, we were talking beforehand.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
There are lots of peculiarities around stud contracts or feed supply and all sorts of things in between, possible negligence of vets or the suppliers that you have for the animals, maybe not taking the care of them that they should. There are lots of ways that actually I do things a bit differently to a traditional firm. So there are lots of very good traditional firms in Cornwall who have been around a long time, and you can deal with them for your property work or your wills work, and they also will have a team that deals with disputes.
Yep.
I don't have those satellite departments, so my focus is entirely on resolving what you've had arise, and whether that's a mediation, because the courts really, really are loving mediations at the moment, or it's actually going to trial because it can't be resolved.
Absolutely. And we were talking about that beforehand, how the courts are so backed up as well. They're almost forcing people to have mediation now, aren't they?
The courts now can require you to try. It doesn't mean it will resolve.
Yeah.
A mediation is something that both parties have to go into willing to sort things out.
Yeah.
And if you're going into it willing to resolve, then a good result is that everyone goes away not happy, but they can live with the end outcome. If you're going into any kind of resolution procedure thinking, I want to win, it probably isn't going to work so well for you, because I find if you come to a litigation dispute with an axe to grind that you are determined to have aired and you aren't coming at it from a point of view that you want it resolved, you're always going to be disappointed.
Yeah, because you're not in that right mindset, or they just can't let it go, whatever it might have been.
Yeah,
situation.
I mean, everybody, if they're in a dispute, will feel emotional about it. It will be all-consuming, and a lot of my job is to absorb the emotion that comes in with that, and almost rationalise things, because I'm not there to get involved in the dispute or to perpetuate it. I'm not there to shout in my letters. I'm there to point out the facts, make sure that I've condensed down what it is we want into a manageable form, and set out what it is that we want to get, and then work towards that solution. I don't want to rack up costs for the sake of posturing.
And something we talked about just before we went on air just clicked in my brain. You have a lifetime of experience in this because, and I think you'd agree, mother of 5.
Yes.
You've been mediating for how long? I mean, because it's basically what it is, isn't it?
There's a lot of conflict resolution.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because someone will see something a different way to another.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, a lot of the techniques that you have to use. You know, we're good advocates of gentle parenting. So we really get to what are we feeling in this moment, and actually a lot of that transfers over. Of
course, it does.
Because expectation management is a lot of parenting.
Yeah.
Saying yes one day always gets remembered, but saying we could have a talk about whether we're going to do that is a slightly different kettle of fish.
Absolutely.
And I think if you're going into something, understanding the process, understanding what the likely risks and outcomes are, you're much more invested in it.
So not the same thing by any means, but when I used to run the hotels and everything, I loved when there was a disgruntled customer, which may sound strange, but the staff always knew if there's someone with a problem, please can I talk to them? Because it's 9 times out of 10, it's either that we've they've not understood what the product was or whatever. So it's expectations. We could have just effed up, being completely honest with you. But it's sitting down and having that mediation. That's on a low level compared to what you do, but it's that same thing. But by having that, it always brought a stronger relationship with the customer, and we always got a lot of things out of it. But so it's the same principle though, because you're sitting down, listening to all sides, and knowing that where's the commonality, where's the correct place in this.
Yeah, it's bringing people together rather than actually pushing them further apart.
Absolutely,
because it can happen. If your approach isn't the right approach, then you actually can start becoming invested in a dispute with the other solicitor or the other party, rather than actually focusing on, well, what are we seeking to achieve here? But I used to enjoy dealing with disputes when I worked in retail. I was always the first person that go and talk to her. Because the first thing that you do is listen. Active listening. What is it this person wants? And sometimes you've got the XY problem. They're not necessarily saying what it is that they want, but you can hear behind what they're saying what it is they want.
Absolutely.
And then the first reaction is, I'm sorry. It's amazing how many times an apology early on could have resolved a dispute and led to a strengthening of relationships rather than it dragging on and costing tens of thousands of pounds.
Speaking of costings, we talked earlier, you've got pricing solutions for people as well. If you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I keep flexibility at the heart of everything that I do. So I don't want to end up in a situation where people think they can't access services because it's going to end up being an unknown figure that they can't reach. So at the very outset, I offer a fixed fee appointment with real advice. So whereas a free appointment, which I've offered in the past when I've been employed, doesn't really get you the advice that you need at the end, I have a booking system on my website where people can get an appointment and actually upload some papers for me to have a look at. So I can read those, give proper advice, and that's within a fixed fee of £250. Along the way, I'm happy to work with people on funding structures so that there is an understanding of what it's going to cost, and we can structure it in a way that works for people.
And this is part of the problem a lot of times, because it's like how long's a piece of string sometimes in these type of things. You need to know because some people may just not, it's going to cost too much to even do that. I'm just going to not even worry about it. I mean, it happens in business all the time. Someone owes you X amount, from invoices and poor service and everything else, but like, you know what? It's not worth the hassle, but that's not true, is it?
Sometimes...
Well, depending on what it is.
Yeah, sometimes, depending on the value, you can incur more and actually you won't get that back. But generally speaking, the court now has fixed costs for a lot of cases. So up to £100,000, the court will expect you to come in within a certain budget. 9 times out of 10, so long as you aren't spending time unnecessarily, you can generally get within those limits. So you have a good understanding of approximately how much it's going to cost. I think where a lot of the complaints come in my particular area is where you've said, okay, well, it's going to cost X amount of money. And then as things progress, it just snowballs. And you've reached a point where you're so invested that you can't really pull the plug.
Yep.
You just have to keep going. And the cost is exponential. So yes, there are curveballs. And so you're sometimes surprised. You shouldn't really be, but you're sometimes surprised as a litigator. But you should be able to accurately predict the sort of core amount that something's going to cost. And most people do tend to take legal expenses insurance on their insurance policies, usually without realising, because there's a box ticked on the comparison websites or wherever, and you just haven't unticked it. So 9 times out of 10, you've paid £3 a month or however much it is to have an insurance policy that would cover you in this sort of situation. So if you're in a dispute, it's always worth checking that first.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of times and ticking boxes, we've run out of time ourselves already. But look, it's been great having you on the set, and we'll have all the contact details on the video itself. But I would say if, start the step by talking to Lisa, find out exactly, what can be done, and she'll take it from there. Simple as that. Before we close, I also love the way that, you're so collaborative with other people in your profession as well. So I've noticed that right off the bat. So, and we love everything you're doing in the network as well. So thank you so much. It's been great having you with us, and I hope you've enjoyed this chat today.
It's been great. Thank you.
Cool. Well, we'll see you again soon.